What's going on, guys? Hopefully you're having a wonderful Friday today. In today's video, I want to talk about a different aspect of using the flow. You know, Unusual Whales has lots of different features you guys can use, and one of the features that I often pay attention to is what really comes through the whale alert section. And I always constantly look at it and I try to see what I find really unusual. And you know, yesterday we caught Meta, and it looked very unusual. It was coming in an area of support. I'm going to kind of walk you guys through what I saw and what I look for in the alert section, so you guys can try to actually replicate this in the process as well. Okay, so yesterday coming into the close, it was around 3 p.m. an hour before the market closed. I saw Meta, this 4 million call kind of come in. All right, so 175 calls. I took a look at the chart near the end of the day. You know, I saw we had this support dating back to those COVID levels, and we had a nice little candle here. And I looked at the 175 call that they were buying, and it was lining up pretty good with this 20 moving average. So on a technical standpoint, we have a few things kind of going here. We have a nice pullback coming off the highs here into support, a little overextended to the downside, hitting that support area, decent daily candle. The next resistance, they're right. It is sitting at around the 175. If they're buying the 175 calls, that's the first area that you're going to see rejection in. So I may know this, and this is right here. If you guys are having a hard time to see it, let me put it up. It's this one right here. Okay. Now, why it's interesting, there's a lot of calls that sometimes come through, and you can't just simply base it on, this 4 million in premium. Well, you have to look at a few things. One, where is this strike? How far is it from the price we're trading at? To me, this was a reasonable price. Now, the next thing you need to look at is, what is the expiry? The expiry here is telling us what? July 29th. So we're not buying a 2-year out expiry. This is just 1 month out. And to me, that's still fairly short term. And the differential here is that they're really only expecting about an 11% move here, right, until that strike price. So that's also very reasonable. They're not buying too deep into the money. They're buying out of the money, and it's not too far out of the money, which tells us they're looking for a directional move. All right, so that in itself brought it to my attention. I watched it here. It looked good. Didn't make a decision based solely on that, guys. So what did I do? I waited to see how the pre-market acts. And when we come into the pre-market, we see a few things here. We see obviously a gapped up from the close that it had, but we knew that we had that flow kind of behind us. We also understood that we have good resistance being put in at this 161 level, and the daily chart of course had room to continue higher. So because of that, we had this little resistance area. This 161 area was a good level of trigger. So that's when I wrote the notes this morning. I said long over 161, and it really just took off. And this area that you're seeing a lot of resistance at actually comes from another daily level as well. All right, so this kind of just goes to show you another aspect of how you can use Unusual Whales. You don't necessarily just have to stick to the active flow page if you think that's too much information for you. You could just really rely on some of these big alerts that it's alerting you and it's showing you. Then you can look at the daily chart or the intraday patterns, give yourself that confirmation. And once that confirmation is there, you see multiple things lining up, then you can take the trade. And in this example, it was great. We saw the strength come into Meta yesterday as well. It had a pretty good move yesterday. It held up very well, end of day push as well, alongside with the entire market. And this right here was a very confident trade, and it looked very well, and it did a great job pushing today. All right, guys, so hopefully you guys found some value in this. If you did, go ahead, like, retweet, share this with somebody who you think will find value in it. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.